The Zephyrian High Council had calculated it perfectly. Earth would fall within 72 standard hours of the first bombardment. Their quantum processors had analyzed every variable: human military capabilities, population centers, resource distribution, even psychological breaking points. The blue marble spinning in the void would crack like an egg, its inhabitants surrendering before the second wave of their crystalline warships arrived. Admiral Kethalar adjusted his bio-metallic carapace as he watched the tactical display. 12,000 vessels of the hegemony surrounded the Sol system like hungry predators. Behind him, representatives from 47 allied species observed in reverent silence. This would be the final lesson for any species foolish enough to resist Zephyrian expansion. "Commence orbital bombardment," Kethalar commanded, his voice resonating through harmonic frequencies that translated across dozens of languages simultaneously. The first volley of plasma charges struck Earth's major cities: New York, London, Tokyo, Mumbai. Pillars of light erupted where human civilization had once thrived. Satellite feeds showed the devastation: towers crumbling, infrastructure vaporizing, millions of lives snuffed out in microseconds. Yet something unexpected happened. Instead of surrender signals, instead of the planetary communication networks going dark with despair, something else emerged from Earth's remaining transmission arrays: music. It started with a single piano, Chopin's Nocturne in E-flat major, broadcast from a damaged station in Vienna. Then a violin joined from somewhere in the ruins of Prague, playing the same piece. Within minutes, orchestras of survivors across the planet had synchronized their instruments, their voices, their very souls into a symphony that reached across space itself. The Zephyrian communications officer, an insectoid creature named Velthara, frantically adjusted her equipment. "Admiral, we're receiving massive electromagnetic signatures from the planet. It's organized, coordinated." Kethalar's mandibles clicked in confusion. "Distress calls? Surrender negotiations?" "No, sir. I believe they call it music." The haunting melody filled the void between worlds, transmitted on every frequency humans could access. But it wasn't just the classical piece. It evolved. African drums joined the symphony from the ruins of Nairobi. Sitars from New Delhi wove through the harmonies. Indigenous flutes from the Amazon carried the melody across continents. Even as their cities burned, humans were creating something beautiful together. The alien observers shifted uncomfortably. Music was known to most species, but this was different. This was defiance transformed into art, despair crystallized into hope. "Sir," Velthara's voice trembled, "we're detecting massive power surges across the planet. They're redirecting energy from military installations to their broadcast networks." Kethalar's tactical mind reeled. They were choosing music over weapons, beauty over defense. It was illogical. It was inefficient. It was utterly alien to everything the hegemony understood about warfare. Then the humans began to sing. Billions of voices rose in dozens of languages, but somehow, impossibly, they harmonized. The melody carried words of loss, of love, of an unbreakable spirit that transcended species boundaries. The song spoke of children playing in meadows that no longer existed, of lovers separated by death but connected by memory, of a planet that would endure even as its surface was scarred. On the hegemony command ship, something unprecedented happened. The translation, Matrices, designed to convert any communication into understandable formats, began to struggle, not because they couldn't translate the words, but because they were translating something deeper: emotion, hope, the very essence of what it meant to be human. Species that had never shed a tear found moisture gathering in their optical organs. Warriors who had conquered 100 worlds felt their weapon grips slacken. The Velkari representative, a reptilian being known for their emotional coldness, placed a clawed hand over what might have been their heart. "Admiral," whispered the hegemony's chief psychologist, a ethereal being of pure energy. "This is beyond our calculations. They're not fighting us with weapons. They're fighting us with their humanity itself." The song reached its crescendo as Earth's rotation brought new populations into the broadcast network. Children's voices joined from hidden shelters, their innocent melodies weaving through the adult harmonies. Elderly humans, some with only hours left to live, added their weathered voices to the chorus. Even those trapped in the rubble tapped rhythms against debris, contributing to humanity's final symphony. Kethalar stared at the tactical display, as his weapons powered down automatically, not from system failure, but because his crew, composed of dozens of species, had stopped following orders. They were listening. They were learning what it meant to face extinction with grace. "Sir," Velthara's voice was barely audible, Should we continue the bombardment?" For the first time in his military career, Admiral Kethalar hesitated. The humans weren't surrendering, but they weren't fighting either. They were doing something else entirely. Something that was rewriting the very foundations of what the hegemony believed about conquest, about power, about the nature of intelligence itself. As the song reached every corner of the galaxy through the hegemony's own communication networks, reports began flooding in from across the empire. Slave species were laying down their tools. Conquered populations were looking up at their alien governors with new eyes. The very fabric of the hegemonies. Control was unraveling, note by note, voice by voice. The humans had discovered something the galaxy's greatest military minds had never considered. That true strength lay not in the ability to destroy, but in the capacity to create beauty in the face of oblivion. And in that moment, as Earth's song echoed through the cosmos, the stars themselves seemed to listen and learn what it truly meant to be human.